And when you daven for others, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you rachamei shamayim hamispal bat chavei vutzu l'chli yisadovo hu neno techilo. So it's always is gula for your own rachamei shamayim to daven for others, but the essence of this inyan to daven for others is feeling the pain of others. And many times I told the story, a Chassidish Shemais of Reb Moshe Leib Sassover. And Reb Moshe Leib Sassover was a Talmud of two of the greatest Chassidish masters, Rabbi Melech Melezhensk and Reb Shmelke Meniklish. And Reb Moshe Leib Sassover said, the essence of Yohavtu l'reachu kamoichu I learned from a Gentile, from a non-Jew. So before telling the story, I just want to say, if any one of you wonders, does a tzaddik, a Hasidish, or Rebbe need to learn anything from a non-Jew? Do you happen to know a gentleman named Dama Ben Asina? Probably you know him. He lives in Kedushin Daf Lamed Aleph. And the Gemara asks, Ad heichem kibud av'em. And the Gemara brings the story of Dama Ben Asina, who was a non-Jew, and he was Moise Nefesh, and he was willing to forego millions of dollars not to trouble his father's sleep, not to wake up his father. And Chazal bring him as an example. So it shouldn't be a wonder that we learn and especially Talmidim of the Baal Shem Tov, because the Baal Shem Tov taught, and that is one of the fundamental teachings of the Baal Shem Tov. Everything is Hashgacha Pratis. Everything you see, everything you hear, everything you experience comes to teach you something. And therefore, going through life, the Baal Shem Tov said, you need to observe. Whatever you see, whatever you hear, it's all b'hashgacha. Whatever you experience comes to teach you something. So what's the story? So the Moshe Leib said, I was walking and I just happened coincidentally to overhear a conversation between two goyim. Mr. A asks Mr. B, do you love me? And Mr. B says, aren't you ashamed to ask that question? We've been the best of friends for 20 years. Of course I love you. Mr. A asks me, so what hurts me? Mr. B is surprised and he says, how would I know? Did you tell me? Mr. A asks, did you ask? Do you really want to know? How could you say you love me if you don't know what hurts me? How could you say you love me if you don't know what hurts me? And Moshe Leib Sassover was taken aback and he said, I understood the essence of Yohavtu l'reachu kamoichu. You cannot say you love another if you don't know what hurts. But he didn't tell you. If you love a person, you look at his face, you should realize something is wrong. If you really care. If you really care, he doesn't need to tell you. If you look at his face, you should feel that something is wrong, that something is bothering him, and you should ask, you should inquire. So, how could you say I love me if you don't know what hurts me? Asked one guy to another, and Moshe Leib Sassover said, it is then that I realized how profound this mitzvah of Yohavtu l'reachu kamoichu is. It's very easy, to love. It's very easy to say, American people, after every conversation on the phone, before saying goodbye, they say, I love you, and it's somewhat of a routine. But this is a very profound emotion, and it's not to be just, thrown around so easily. So the Moshe Leib Sassover said, then he realized the essence of Yohavtu l'reachu kamoichu. So when you hear that someone is ill, it needs to pain you. You need to feel it. And make the effort. Put him on your list and daven for him from the depth of your heart. So another Hasidish Amaisa of my Rebbe, the Kloisenberger Rebbe, when the Imre Chaim passed away, the Vizhnitzer Rebbe, and he left two sons. They were known as Reb Moshe and Reb Motele. Reb Moshe was the Yeshua's Moshe, the Vishnitzer Rebbe in Bnei Brak, who passed away not many years ago. And his brother Reb Mordechai, known in America, he lived in Monsey, Matala, and he was the Vishnitzer Rebbe in America. And the Kloisenberger Rebbe came to be Menachem Ovel when their father, the Imre Chaim, passed away. And Reb Matala was always a tremendous tzaddik tomim. And he asked the Kloisenberger Rebbe, as I get up from the Shiva, the Hasidim will start giving me kvitlach. I think even Litvische guys knows what kvitlach are, right? You write your name and you give it to a tzaddik and he davens for you. Many people give me kvitlach, but they're not aware when you give a kvitl to the Rebbe, it usually goes together with a pidyon. It goes together with a check. People give me kvitlach and it never gives together with a pidyon. And if you believe I could be helpful, don't take me seriously on this comment. So I'm happy not to get pidyonis. Let me say that. So the Matala complained, Hasidim are going to come and they're going to give me kvitlach, and I have no idea how you read a kvitl. What are the soidas? What do you need to have in mind to be a poyel yeshuos? And the Kloisenberger Rebbe said, all you need to have in mind is when a person spills out his heart about his tzoros, you should feel as if these are your tzoros. You should feel as if it's your family. And if that is how you feel, your brachas will work. So that's what the Kloisenberger Rebbe said. And if you feel his pain as if it is your pain, then that is all you need to bear in mind. Many times I am Menachem Avelim, and I will never dare to say to an Ovel, I feel your pain as if it is mine, because that wouldn't be true. I feel your pain, but I would never dare telling an Ovel who lost a loved one, I feel your pain as if, that only the greatest tzaddikim could say that. I believe Reb Zusha Manapoli could say that, and Reb Melech Menezhensk, but you need to feel their pain. You need to feel their pain. And that gives validity and strength to a bracha, and that gives strength to a tefillah. And like Rav Moshe Leib Sassover said, that is the essence of Yohavta l'reacho kamoicho. And that is the mitzvah to daven for a choila. And Sefer Hasidim bases this din on the Posuk in Tehillim. Va'ani b'chaloisam. When they fell ill, levushi sak, v'tfilosi el cheiki toshuv. El cheiki means to my own lap, as if it affects me. I felt their pain, and that is how I davened for them. So Yeratzon, we should always be able to rejoice in the simchas of others, and we should not need to daven for the ill, but it is part of life, and we do need to daven for the ill, and all the tefillah should be niskabel, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu says then, Refuas in Yeshuas l'choyle amay beis Yisrael. We should always share b'sodas toivos and yeshias v'nachomes.